And demonstrations across the country protesting racism and police brutality have renewed calls here in the Magnolia State over the current flag, the only one in the nation that still displays a Confederate battle emblem.
Debate raging over changing Mississippi's state flag, and a proposed pay raise for teachers dies amid budget concerns. Joining me now to talk about these developing stories and more, State Senator Bryce Wiggins up in the capital city. Senator, let's start with the flag, because that's been the talk of the week. Now, the real, let's face it, crux of this debate is, should the legislature on its own, just unilaterally, which they can, vote to change the flag, or should we go through the tedious ballot initiative and vote again? What's your sense on that?
Well, Dave, you're right. And let me say this, that I have publicly said that I am willing to take a vote in the legislature on this issue should it come up. And I think there's people that don't want that to happen. But as I said on my Facebook, procedurally, it can either be done by the legislature or by a referendum. And if the numbers that we're seeing are true, then there seems to be enough momentum for people to go through the referendum process and put it on the ballot. So, we'll see. The
Mississippi state flag is coming under fire again. Several state Senate Democrats have filed a resolution up in the Capitol to suspend deadlines in the legislature and consider a bill to change the flag. Leaders of several denominations lined the steps of St. Peter's Cathedral in downtown Jackson today, each one explaining why they believe it's time for the current flag to be taken down and replaced. All referenced their concern that the Confederate battle emblem in the upper left-hand corner is divisive and it does not represent all of the state's people, but they also are calling for quick action.
Developing this morning, Mississippi lawmakers starting the formal process to change our state flag. Our flag is a hot topic across the state and nation right now, but there's several steps that must be worked through before a dead bill from earlier this year can even be discussed again during the legislative session. David Elliott joins us now in the newsroom with the latest push to revive that bill and change our flag.
That's right, Rhonda, thanks. Developing right now an ambitious attempt to revive Senate Bill 2446, that bill killed a little bit earlier this year, aims to put an end to the Confederate symbolism on the Mississippi state flag. Several Senate Democrats have now filed a suspension resolution to bring back that bill since the legislative deadline has passed.
Jackson County Chamber of Commerce releasing a statement joining the movement for a change to the state flag. Brandy McGill reports.
But it's always going to be that racial issue there, as long as that flag is up. So I think they should change it.
Jackson County Chamber of Commerce joins the movement urging state legislators to take the opportunity toward change by changing the state flag.
It is so important that we have a state flag that can be embraced by all of our citizens and by all of our nation.
Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Paige Roberts says the decision was made following discussions and observations over the years about barriers not promoting development.
It's really difficult for us to sell Jackson County when we're flying a flag that is not a statement of unity.
Ruby Johnson is a resident of Jackson County and believes the flag holds a lot of history, and for her it brings back many memories.
I'm 65 years old. Hey, I've been there, I've done that. And I want them to change it. Stop it. Stop the racism. Look what's going on now.
Roberts says to maintain a competitive edge in the industrial and commercial world, the flag must go.
We must embrace this movement of inclusion that's going on nationwide, and this is the opportunity for Mississippi to step up.
In Jackson County, Brandy McGill, WLOX News Now.
A symbol of change, Mississippi's second largest city voting to remove the state flag from city buildings.
Chet Landry joins us live from Gulfport City Hall now with the latest on this decision.
That's right, Allison and Hugh. The vote just hours ago by the Gulfport City Council was unanimous. And in their words, it's time for a change, and that time is now. So a dozen or so people came forward speaking for removing the state flag. Now, while their comments included some personal touches, their sentiment was very much the same. The Confederate battle flag, which is in the corner of the Mississippi state flag, is an emblem that has been used for hatred and racism and used with the killing of black people, and it's time to take it down. One Armed Forces retiree and Gulfport resident said he's proud that to see his city moving in the right direction.
Today was a great step in moving Mississippi to the forefront of change in this nation by the lead of the city of Gulfport, by taking this momentum step and stepping out and taking a step of faith and say we're just going to do this for the betterment of all people and not just select few.
Yeah, the resolution approved today also calls for the state legislature to take on the issue of the flag and to not put it up for a vote of the people. Gulfport City leaders urging elected officials to make that decision, and they want that decision made right now. Now, in the meantime, the state flag, as you can see behind me, has gone and has been replaced with the Magnolia flag. That, a decision not made by the city council, but by the city's mayor. Reporting live in Gulfport, Chet Landry, WLOX News Now.
Hancock Whitney is now contributing to the conversation of the state flag. President and CEO John Hairston penned a letter addressed to his fellow Mississippians, urging us to join him in supporting elected officials who are calling for legislative actions to make a change. Hairston cites our state's brain drain and speaks hopefully of a symbol that, quote, signals externally that we are a unified people anxious to create opportunities and advancements for all Mississippians. So the company displayed the Stennis flag, which is growing in popularity across the state, on its downtown Gulfport corporate headquarters. Here you see it in order to show support for moving forward together. Hairston says Hancock Whitney does not necessarily support the Stennis flag in particular, only hoping for one that represents a future together versus a past divided. And if you drive around Gulfport, you will have a hard time actually finding a Mississippi state flag. We only found one business and one house flying the flag.
Gulfport's action to remove the flag and call for a change is just the first of the latest efforts. Our John Fitzhugh explores some of the emotions invoked by the flag.
It just doesn't look good for our state. It's not the right thing for our state, and we need to make that change.
The Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber of Commerce asked the legislature to change the state flag in 2015. Their position hasn't changed, and they supported Gulfport's move today. The senior pastor at First Baptist Church of Gulfport said he signed a letter calling for the flag to change years ago.
For me, it's about having a flag that represents more of us and potentially at some point all of us. And under the current flag, I don't think we can ever get there.
Stewart said he voted in favor of the current flag in 2001, but he would change that vote today.
And there are members of our state who are offended by the current flag because of its history. There are others who are attached to it because of their history.
I try not.
It's different.
Yeah. It's not an issue, a hate thing with me. It's our heritage.
Vonnie Holloman said he dislikes groups and individuals who have used the Confederate battle flag to represent hate. But it is that portion of the state flag that people want to change.
Now, if it's offensive to people and more than a few people tell me it offends them, I would take it down.
It is easy to find those who are offended by the flag and all it represents.
It's a great move for me because I won't feel intimidated when I see that flag. I won't feel, when I go in the courtrooms, I won't feel intimidated about that flag. Now when I go in the courtroom, I see myself being afraid because injustice in the courtroom, and a lot of time is based on that flag.
In Gulfport, John Fitzhugh, WLOX News Now.
The state flag and Confederate monuments around Mississippi are under the glare of the spotlight. Momentum to change the flag and remove Confederate statues is picking up steam. Dave Elliott is live in the newsroom now with a look at two monuments getting attention in Harrison County.
Thanks, Hugh. A rally is planned Friday calling for the removal of a monument on the east side of the Harrison County Courthouse on 23rd Avenue. The United Daughters of the Confederacy unveiled the monument and statue in 1911. The monument, standing 25 feet, features a bronze statue of a Confederate soldier standing at parade rest atop a granite shaft and base. An unfurled Confederate battle flag is featured on the front. On the base are multiple inscriptions, including "In memory of our Confederate dead, lest we forget." In the years 1861 through 1865, the 4 years encompassing the Civil War. The UDC and the Harrison County Board of Supervisors paid $3,500 for this monument. The current Board of Supervisors has expressed no interest in taking this monument down or moving it. That issue is not on the board's Wednesday agenda. The Friday rally will also bring attention to a marker on Highway 49 just north of 15th Street. Inscribed on it, the words "Jefferson Davis Memorial Highway and President of the Confederacy." The Friday event is scheduled to get underway at 5:45 p.m.
We should feel safe walking into our courthouse.
In front of the Harrison County Courthouse, a Confederate monument showing up in numbers tonight for those who stand for that monument and those who stand against it.
We are here today because action requires that we do something more than just pat ourselves on the back for gathering once again.
On a day dedicated to commemorating the end of slavery here in the United States, a group of dozens of concerned citizens are calling for change.
They're demanding both that the state flag with its Confederate battle emblem and Confederate monuments be removed from county or public property.
Our Tristan Rupert was at tonight's rally and he brings us this report.
Take it down! Take it down! Tensions were high as passionate pleas for change met ardent support of the state's past.
Least we forget! Least we forget!
But both sides were able to stand up for what they believe.
Y'all will get the state child peace, because one thing about it, as Americans, everybody has a right, not just a select few. Y'all will get a chance to say something.
Many of those in attendance believe the state flag and the Confederate monuments are symbols of hate and racism.
It's important that we as citizens of Harrison County don't have monuments that represent hate.
Several showed up in support of the flag and the Confederate monuments they say honor those who came before them.
I learned a lot today from their side about how they think about it. We let them know how we feel about our side about it, and it came out good. I mean, you see us all shaking hands. There's no violence. It's pretty peaceful.
Even though some walked away more aware of how the others think and feel, calls for change will certainly continue.
We need to demand of the Harrison County Board of Supervisors, first, that rebel flag comes down immediately. As long as this monument stands at the doorsteps of the place where justice is sought, as long as that flag flies on that flagpole at the doorway of this courthouse, there is not even the appearance that justice is available in Harrison County.
Reporting in Harrison County, Tristan Rupert, WLOX News Now.
The Harrison County Board of Supervisors will consider their stance on the flag and Confederate monuments at the next meeting on July 6th.
More developments in the state flag debate coming in from an unexpected angle. College athletics. The NCAA has now issued a new policy that indirectly prevents Mississippi from hosting championships until the state flag changes. Michael Dugan explains.
The NCAA has now expanded their Confederate flag policy to prevent any championship events from being played in states where the Confederate symbol has a prominent presence. Mississippi is the only state currently affected by this policy. This new rule will stop sports such as baseball, softball, and women's basketball from hosting championship events in the Magnolia State. Mississippi State and Ole Miss have each responded to the recent NCAA policies. John Cohen, athletic director at Mississippi State, with this response, saying, quote, "We are disappointed that our student athletes and coaches will potentially be affected by something outside of their control." Ole Miss also responding to the statement, saying, quote, "The University of Mississippi community concluded years ago that the Confederate battle flag did not represent many of our core values, such as civility and respect for others. In 2015, the university stopped flying the state flag over our campus."
New this morning, the artist and designer of a popular alternative option for our state flag is taking a step back. Bill Snyder is live with details.
Good morning, Rhonda. Yeah, Lauren Stennis is the granddaughter of the late John C. Stennis. Now, she has been spearheading the group to push what was used to be called the Stennis flag. Now it's going to be called the hospitality flag. She came out with a statement saying she understands the potential hurt and harm that could come from her last name being Stennis, so she has stepped down from this particular endeavor. The reason why, John Stennis did a lot of things. Stennis Space Center, was a longtime senator, did a lot for Mississippi with the Navy. However, was also a segregationist. So with that in mind, Lawrence Stennis decided to step back.
Capitol lawmakers met behind closed doors today exploring options to change the state flag. Before a vote could come before the floor of the legislature this late in the session, both the House and Senate would need to change the rules to allow a new bill to be introduced. A 2/3 vote in both chambers is needed for the rules to be changed. Now, 2 weeks from today, on July 6th, the Harrison County Board of Supervisors will take up the state flag and Confederate monuments for discussion. The board will consider taking down the state flag that flies outside the courthouse and sending a resolution to Jackson asking legislators to change the flag. Today, we spoke with Supervisor Kent Jones, who said he doesn't know how the board collectively will vote on the issue, but says he is in full support of changes.
Now is as good a time as any to move forward. I think so many think that the flag is divisive, including myself, that it has racist tendencies. So I just think that now that we're on the right side of history, and I'm just happy to be a part of that.
The board will also consider moving the Confederate monument that stood outside the courthouse for more than a century. While protests for racial equality and against what many consider symbols of hate continue throughout the country, it's worth a look back at one of the most iconic protests in South Mississippi 18 years ago.
That's when 21-year-old college students spent 77 days protesting the flying of the Confederate battle flag at a well-known attraction. And the lessons learned then are still alive today.
Mike Lacey has the story.
In 2002, Jason Whitfield began a journey that would change his life.
It's one of the most blessed moments in my life. I grew a ton. It was an awesome experience.
But it was something he had to leave behind for a while before he could pick the mantle back up.
I will be honest, there was a point in my life where I had to really focus on letting that part of my life go just so I could move forward.
He said as a young man, he didn't know the kind of danger in which he put himself, but there was another lesson just as significant.
Another thing I learned is that if you stand up for what's right, people will support you and always remember you.
And they have. Whitfield says he has never really embraced the significance of his effort, but others remind him to this day. Even then, he says there were signs of hope, and not just from his supporters.
Understand that some of the best compliments that I've ever received in my life were from people that did not agree with me on my stance during the protest, that came and shook my hand and said, "Young man, I don't agree with you, but the way that you stood, the way that you represented yourself, the way that you represented our city and our country, I really appreciate." And that made me understand the growth potential for our country.
And he says he's proud to see those who were protesting as he did 18 years ago, and he says it feels different just from the diversity of people who were standing together.
To see those people participating really warms my heart, because we don't make progress without those people out there on the front lines that are willing to stand, put themselves in harm's way, whether it's for George Floyd or for the flag.
But he adds that the protests are just the beginning.
Those things will always exist and they'll always be important. But if you do that and you don't vote, it's a waste of time.
Mike Lacey, WLOX News Now.
Whitfield added that while he was the center of attention during the protest, he was not alone because of his family and his friends.
More voices are joining the call for a change to the way our state is represented.
The largest Christian denomination in the state, the Mississippi Baptist Convention, now calling for a change. They say the decision to change the flag has now moved beyond politics.
It has become apparent that the discussion about changing the state flag of Mississippi is not merely a political issue. While some may see the current flag as a celebration of heritage, a significant portion of our state sees it as a relic of racism and a symbol of hatred. The racial overtones of the flag's appearance make this discussion a moral issue.
Biloxi Bishop James Black has long been a proponent of civil rights, although he isn't a member of the Baptist Convention. He applauds today's announcement and would like to see the legislature take the steps to change the flag.
To see the Southern Baptists do that is really, really inspiring. And
And again, I want to commend them for doing that. That speaks volume, you know. That wasn't a vote to put the flag up in the first place, you know. They just put it up. Why would they want to take it down?
Another voice supporting change, the Mississippi Association of Community Colleges, releasing a statement today that they want a new flag because they believe, quote, the flag of Mississippi should be one that unites all of us toward a prosperous future.
The Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus is now also calling for a new state flag, have been for years. They are now pushing for the legislature to vote on a new flag during this legislative session.
Now, supporters, on the other hand, of the flag say the Confederate symbol does not have a negative connotation, and they believe voters should decide if the flag is changed.
But I don't think the legislature ought to go behind the people's back and do it on their own. I think something important as a representation of our state ought to be put to a people's vote. There's also black people that I know and have talked to that want to keep the flag also.
Supporters believe the flag will remain the same if the decision is left up to the voters.
Walmart announcing it will remove the state flag from display in its current form from its Mississippi stores. A spokesperson says this is consistent with the store's position to not sell merchandise with the Confederate flag from stores and online sites.
This morning, we're getting a new sense of where Governor Tate Reeves stands on the issue. In a Facebook post, Reeves said if state lawmakers do pass a bill to change the flag, he will not veto it. But he maintains any decision to change the flag should be done by a vote of the people.
The state's biggest movers and shakers on the sports front were in the state capitol today. Hugh Keaton joins us now live in the newsroom to tell us about the latest efforts to convince legislators to change the state flag.
Ole Miss, Mississippi State, normally you would say they're bitter rivals, but today coaches and administrators from the two schools stood side by side with a unified voice. Lane Kiffin, the head football coach at Ole Miss, and Mississippi State head football coach Mike Leach joined also with coaches from all 8 of Mississippi's public universities after the NCAA, SEC, and Conference USA all announced no championship events would be held in Mississippi as long as the current flag flies. The coaches made their case for change.
I mean, why do you have a state flag? To unify and excite the citizens of the state, to be a point of a pride that brings everybody together. And right now our flag doesn't do that, and we need one that does.
We want change. All the coaches want change. The students want change, and they want it now.
Senator Roger Wicker is the latest lawmaker taking a clear position on the flag. In a tweet today that included a picture of a proposed new flag with a state seal on it, Wicker said, "Let's adopt a new and unifying flag." Former Governor Phil Bryant also weighing in, saying this proposed flag design with the state seal and "In God We Trust" on it will make a great Mississippi state flag. Now, even with the growing momentum for a flag change, for it to happen, the legislature is going to have to act quickly. Right now, the legislative session is scheduled to end tomorrow. Lawmakers wrapped up the day without a vote on the state flag, but many signs are pointing towards action coming soon. Both the House and Senate will reconvene tomorrow, which is rare since it's a Saturday. All the conversations at the state capitol are centered on if there will actually be enough votes to take down the flag. Today, freshman senator from Jackson County, Jeremy England, made his case for change on the floor of the Senate and also addressed the pressure surrounding the issue.
And if any of you may be looking right now to decide if you would like to stand with me and also share this position, I'm going to tell you that I respect that, and I think it shows a lot of courage of any of you that do that. I think it shows a lot of heart and a lot of spine. Any of you that don't stand with me on this issue, I respect that.
Now to the big story this morning. The Mississippi state flag hangs in the balance. A vote could soon be coming in legislature in the next few hours to change this controversial banner that's flown over the state since 1894. Lawmakers will return to the Capitol this morning with the flag on top of everyone's mind. For the flag to change, both the Senate and the House first need to suspend the rules with a 2/3 vote.
Big steps taken today in the state capitol, where the House and Senate both voting to suspend rules, allowing for a vote to change the current state flag. History tonight in Mississippi, a flag celebrated by some as part of our heritage but maligned by others as a symbol of hate no longer represents the Magnolia State. We have comprehensive coverage of this history-making moment in Mississippi. We start with Hugh Keaton at the state capitol. He covered the legislative debate this afternoon and that historic moment when the House and Senate both said Mississippi needs a new state flag. Hugh?
When the history of the Mississippi state flag is written, it will read in use from 1894 until 2020. The Mississippi State House and Senate both approving the bill to retire the state flag by wide margins.
28 and 23 days, the bill passes.
First, the House. A 91-23 vote followed by loud applause. A similar scene in the Senate, with the bill to change the state flag passing 37-14. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann admitted he became emotional when reading the result.
It's a tremendous vote when y'all looked at that. People from all across Mississippi. So it was not just a Democratic measure. In fact, there were more Republicans that voted for this bill than there were Democrats. So it was bipartisan. It was just time. It's just time.
Several coast lawmakers took an active role in the legislation process and were relieved to walk out of the chambers knowing the flag will be changing.
We're not losing history. We are gaining a future for Mississippi. And we will no longer be defined by that. We can set our own future.
Today's a good day. It's wonderful that Mississippi now sees that the flag needs to come down. It needs to be a change, a flag that all of us can be proud to carry.
After years of debate, not everyone would leave happy. Lee Anglada drove from Biloxi to express his disapproval.
It's not about hatred, it's history. You know, one of my relatives is buried in Biloxi Cemetery in his Civil War uniform. He was a shrimper. He just wanted to go fight in the war. He was a stupid kid, you know. We can't just erase history everywhere because it doesn't change people's hearts and minds.
Business leaders like Mississippi Power's Anthony Wilson, who also leads the Mississippi Economic Council, was an outspoken supporter of the flag change.
It gives us the opportunity to now bring in businesses who have not up to now given us the opportunity to show them what a great place to do business Mississippi is.
The bill to change the state flag is now headed to Governor Tate Reeves' desk. Once he signs, a commission will then create a new flag design. That new flag design must contain the words "In God We Trust" and not include the Confederate battle emblem. You, the people, will vote on that new design in November. In Jackson, Hugh Keaton, WLOX News Now.
Now that the state flag has been retired, people across South Mississippi have mixed feelings. Chet Landry joins us in the newsroom with more. Chet.
Mike, within just a few minutes of our Facebook post going live about the decision of the Mississippi legislature to remove the current state flag, a flurry of posts for and against the decision lit up social media. Locals and even people from out of state weighing in on the matter. Now, while those happy for the removal of the flag are excited for change, one Ocean Springs man is also happy that the banner is going to be retired, but he's equally concerned that one divisive emblem is being removed and another divisive phrase is taking its place.
Kind of smirk and smile a little bit whenever they were all clapping in the Senate this morning for the removal of the Confederate battle flag emblem, because I feel like it's tainted our state and our country, and us being the last state to remove the Confederate imagery from our state flag is definitely something to be proud of. I feel like the words "In God We Trust" don't include all Mississippians. People that are not religious are not included by the words "In God We Trust." We're basically shifting from one symbol that disunifies the state to a motto that also does the same thing.
Governor Tate Reeves is expected to sign the bill into law sometime tomorrow. Now, the bill passed today calls for a flag committee of 9 people to have a suitable replacement ready by September 14th in order to be on the ballots in November. If the new flag does not get a majority vote, it will come up for vote again not until 2021, and there would be no state flag in the interim. Mike?
A historic moment now in the making. Just moments from now in Jackson, Governor Tate Reeves will be signing the bill into law that will retire the current Mississippi state flag.
We are a resilient people, defined by our hospitality. We are a people of great faith. Now more than ever, we must lean on that faith, put our divisions behind us, and unite for a greater good.
Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann, Speaker of the House Philip Gunn, members of the NAACP, all flanking the governor as he makes history.
It is now law.
And it's now official. Governor Tate Reeves retiring the state flag of Mississippi. It's been flying over the Magnolia State since 1894. And joining us right now, radio personality, community leader, South Mississippi activist, Tabari Daniels. Hey, Tabari, what a day, huh? You just watched the governor doing it live on TV. You've been following this flag fight for more years than either one of us want to admit to.
Yes.
So what do you think?
Well, it's a long time coming, but it's finally here, and we're finally letting the world know that Mississippi is ready to move forward together with unity. So it's a great thing.
And we've talked about the fact that it took a lot of hard work by a lot of people who don't necessarily agree politically on a lot of different issues, but they all came together in the Capitol over the weekend after a lot of debate, and they made it happen.
Well, when you throw in economics, I think the sanctions with the NCAA stepped forward when that happened, as well as the SEC making their stand. When the rest of the nation started to make a stand economically, then I think it started to pressure some of our lawmakers to do the right thing. Here to now, we wanted to appeal to the conscience of our lawmakers for years, and unfortunately, that fell on a blind eye. But the fact that it happened today finally is still a little bittersweet, but it's still sweet.
Cities and counties across the state now have 15 days to take down the flag.
Many cities are already removing the flag, like in Long Beach, where the state flag was taken down just seconds after the governor signed the bill into law. And our Tristan Rupert was there live when that flag was taken down. Tristan, tell us, what was that moment like?
Allison, the winds of change are blowing here in the Magnolia State. The American flag is flying solo at many buildings here in Long Beach. I actually witnessed the Long Beach Fire Department come to the end of Jefferson Davis Avenue and take down the flag over there by the Long Beach Harbor. It was a historic moment, obviously, and something that I'm never going to forget. And it seemed like something that other people really wanted to check out for themselves. Several people actually stopped, got out of their cars, wanted to see for themselves what it was like, actually. I mean, it's a historic moment. It's something they're never going to forget. I spoke with several who were there just taking in the sights for themselves, and they were just astounded to see the historic moment unfold in front of them. Some, of course, lamented about the fact that they feel like they're losing a piece of their history, but others were just happy that they finally saw a symbol in their eyes of oppression and racism here in the Magnolia State finally come down. So obviously it's a unique situation. It's one that no one in the Magnolia State is going to forget anytime soon where they were at. It was odd because so many people were stopping to see this flag get taken down, but so many were just driving by, either unaware that a historic moment was unfolding right here in South Mississippi or unimpressed by it. So it seems like while, it is definitely something we're never going to forget, it seems like public opinion is still divided on the significance of this moment, not only in the Magnolia State, but right here at home in the 6 southernmost counties. We're, of course, going to have a reaction from more people later today at 10 o'clock. Reporting in Long Beach, Tristan Rupert, WLOX News Now.
History is being made. The Mississippi Flag Commission is working on finding a new design of a state flag to put before the voters in Mississippi. The 9-member panel has been charged with selecting a candidate after the legislature retired the controversial 1894 flag last month. I talked to one of the commission's newest members about the mission. When Governor Tate Reeves signed the bill to retire the 126-year-old state flag with its Confederate battle emblem, it capped a dramatic and sometimes contentious debate in the legislature over the banner. The legislation established a 9-member commission to study replacements. Hundreds of possible designs have been submitted through the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. The Flag Commission has met twice in advance of revealing the final choice on September 14th. The 9-member panel is considering several factors before reaching a final decision. This week, members were briefed on some basic flag principles.
I'm actually studying some stuff right now. We went through the 5 principles of good or bad design for a flag. We learned some terminology, and then we went through a number of flags that currently exist, both state and national flags, that some are good and some are bad. They did a really good job of explaining it to us.
The new flag must be void of any Confederate symbolism and must contain the words "In God We Trust." The hope is the new state flag will appeal to voters and represent all Mississippians.
And I think this is a great opportunity and a historic opportunity to develop something that hopefully will stand the test of time and be a unifying message or symbol for our state moving forward. And it's something that all Mississippians can be proud of.
The multi-stage process will allow the commission to move forward with deciding on the final flag design to present to the governor and legislature by early September, revealed to the public no later than the 14th. And voters will then decide the fate of the flag on November 3rd. If it fails to win approval, it's back to the drawing board for another design, which will then be voted on next year.
The journey to a new state flag in Mississippi continues. Dave Elliott is in the newsroom tonight with an update on a narrowed down design list.
From nearly 3,000 to less than 150, the commission to redesign our state flag drastically narrows the choices. What do you say we take a look at some of the remaining designs? Many have our state flower, the Magnolia, on them. Looking ahead to the next steps in the process, commission members will now rank their top 10 of the remaining 147 choices. Then, during Friday's meeting, they will choose just 5 flags for final consideration. Those 5 flags will be posted on the State Department of Archives and History website for the public to then comment on them. Looking ahead to September 2nd, the commission has to have its final flag choice selected. At that point, it will be submitted to the governor and state legislature. The winning flag will appear on the ballot in November. If approved by a majority vote, it becomes the official state flag. If not, the process starts all over again. And for a vote coming up next November, you can look at all of the remaining flag designs right now on WLOX.com.
Up first tonight on WLOX News Now at 10, Coast residents are giving the most recent list of Mississippi state flag designs a long look. And while favorites vary, those we spoke with today are just as happy that Mississippi leaders are moving toward a design that represents the best of what our state has to offer.
Look, this one has...
Now that the list has been narrowed to 9, the analysis is on.
You know what, that one is actually really good. That one's really smart.
If I had to vote right now today, I would probably choose that one.
And I think the Magnolia flower really stands out because it represents Mississippi. It's our flower, our state flower.
It doesn't matter which one makes the final cut to Kimberly Nettles. She just wants one that is inclusive, not exclusive.
I think that we need a flag that represents Mississippi. And if we have the rebel flag, that really doesn't show the diverse that we have in the state. So I think that we need something that can represent everybody, that everybody can feel comfortable with.
The commission to redesign the Mississippi state flag is charged with finding a flag with strong symbolism while being simplistic enough that a child can recreate it. The majority of the flag choices promote the magnolia flower or tree in some fashion. Shelley Weston says she wants to make sure several criteria are met.
The most important thing to me is that it would have similar colors than as to what we have now. I think the "In God We Trust" is important because it's part of our state seal. I like the idea of the magnolia, but you know, of course I want it to, when people see it, they automatically know Mississippi.
Her son, Whit Weston, says the flag should represent the character of the state.
It shows how we stand as a state. It shows what we believe in and what we signify.
Lacey Wainscott says the flag needs to be on point.
No one wants a misinterpretation of their state because it makes our state look bad if our flag has a bad history behind it.
In just a few hours, we find out which state flag design will be on the ballot this November. The State Flag Commission meets at 10:30 this morning. The commission will choose between the Great River flag and the new Magnolia flag. Commissioners are taking into account public comment, flag design, and historic context. We'll keep you updated on what happens.
A final decision made today, the state flag selection you'll be seeing on November's ballot, and a look at what went on behind today's vote by the State Flag Commission.
That's right, Karen. We're down to 1 following months of debate, thousands of submissions for a new state flag.
That's right. The commission charged to select the flag made its choice today. In an 8-1 vote, the commission chose the new Magnolia flag featuring the iconic magnolia
and the words, "In God We Trust." Talking for the first time publicly about this flag, Governor Tate Reeves said he likes the design.
It's got some traits that are very positive. I certainly appreciate the fact that the Magnolia is on it. We think that it's very important that it's got the words, "In God We Trust." And so I think they did a good job. It's I think a well done flag. And I think the people of Mississippi have a great opportunity, if they choose to do so, to implement this flag.
And joining us right now with more on today's big decision, just back from the capital city, member of the Flag Commission and Coast resident Frank Bordeaux. Frank, well, the governor likes it. That's a good start, huh?
That is a good start.
You know, when we tuned in to Facebook to watch the commission this morning about 10:30 or so, frankly, I was kind of expecting a boom right out of the gates with confetti and balloons, the announcement. And what we saw was a lot of discussion about the design. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, I think the entire commission wants to get it right. If we're going to put it out there for everybody, I think it's important that we do the best job we can do to get a flag on the ballot that we believe can pass in November. And so that's what the discussion was about.
And a lot of it had to do with, I think you're making the 20 stars a little bit larger. Of course, that represents the fact that Mississippi, the 20th state admitted to the Union. And also, you're no longer really calling it the new Magnolia. It's being called the "In God We Trust" flag, right?
That's right. You know, a lot of folks were hashtagging "In God We Trust" on all the flag designs. The Mississippi Department of Archives and History was doing the same thing. And T.J. Taylor, one of the commissioners, towards the end of the meeting felt that it was fitting to do that, and we voted unanimously to name it that.
Tonight, Mississippians now know which state flag they will be voting on November 3rd. The State Flag Commission made the selection to put on the ballot today.
After narrowing it down to just two, the commission went with an altered version of what was called the new Magnolia flag, and our David Elliott got reaction.
After some last-minute debates and a few design changes and a big name change, Mississippians now know which flag they'll be voting on in November to represent the state.
The Magnolia flag be adopted unanimously.
The 9-member Flag Commission, tasked with picking a new state flag, looked at the final 2 candidates and chose what was known as the new Magnolia flag. With one big change, it's now called the "In God We Trust" flag. And the people of Mississippi will now vote yes or no on November 3rd. Thousands of candidates were considered, and the Magnolia blossom on a field of blue with gold and red borders was selected. Commission members decided to make the 20 stars larger. Those stars represent the fact that Mississippi was the 20th state admitted to the Union in 1817. The large gold star pays homage to the Mississippi Choctaw Nation. People we talked to seem to be on board with the decision.
I agree with it. I'm glad it's going to be "In God We Trust." We need it.
I like the decision because it represents all people. It's not just for some people. So, you know, as long as it's not like separating everybody, people from another.
At least it goes with the state, Magnolia trees and all.
The legislature now approves it, then it goes to the ballot for a simple up or down, yes or no vote. I imagine there's going to be a campaign mounted to encourage a yes vote on November 3rd. I'm Dave Elliott, WLOX News Now.
I am terrified. You do it.
A protest in the shadows of Harrison County's Confederate statue turns heated and leads to guns being drawn.
The debate over whether the Confederate statue should remain on the grounds of the Harrison County Courthouse reaches a boiling point tonight.
A scheduled protest calling for the removal of the statue started peacefully, but escalated quickly.
It should not be at the base of the place where we seek justice.
The message for protest organizer Jeffrey Hullum was simple. He wants the Harrison County Board of Supervisors to take up a vote on the future of the statue that stood for more than a century.
Whether you vote for it or not vote for it, we just want you to take action. If they voted down, we will accept that. But that means they took action. But them to not take no action, that's unacceptable.
As Hullum delivered his message and explained a plan to bring a lawsuit against the Board of Supervisors,
law is not on their side.
The crowd grew with supporters and opponents of keeping the statue, but the sight of an openly armed group turned up the emotions of the protesters.
Any of these people that support this monument and you're not armed,
try to take a shot, I'll jump in front of you.
I'm not worried about it.
I will.
I stay on.
I will. Well,
I stay on.
Whatever the issue
Anytime.
is. Whatever.
Others in the crowd also brought out guns as Hullum walked away peacefully. The arguments raged.
Get
Cowards! Oh, you are cowards! And you stand up here and disgrace them and your whole country. You're a piece of That's exactly what you are.
After only a couple of minutes, tempers calmed and the crowd quickly left. While the debate over the statue will likely continue, what the opposing sides seem to agree on is wanting the Board of Supervisors to take some kind of action.
Maybe if they vote on the issue and vote it down, which is what I think the only thing they can do under the law, that might tend to quiet the controversy.
Now, a statement released today by the Harrison County Board of Supervisors said the board is still investigating the potential relocation of the monument at the courthouse. Unfortunately, the board attorney advises that the statutes applicable to the monument limits the board's authority to act.
Other items that were on your ballot today, of course, a controversial measure that made an appearance on today's ballot included letting voters decide the fate of the next Mississippi state flag. And right now it looks like voters are in favor of the new In God We Trust flag. It is leading with 70% of the vote, and that is with 56% of precincts reporting. As you can see, no for the In God We Trust flag is down there with 30% of the vote.
If you're just waking up with us breaking overnight, Mississippi has a new state flag. Voters overwhelmingly approved this design, the In God We Trust flag bearing the magnolia, the state flower. Joining us this morning with more on the next step of the process, State Flag Commission member Sherry Carbevis. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, Rhonda. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and I'm sure that you are waking up happy that this state flag design has passed.
Yeah, you know what? It was a late night, but we're so excited about it. I just can't tell you how much the commission really put their heart and soul into it, and we just are thrilled that the people overwhelmingly supported it. We're very excited about it.
And were you surprised by the overwhelming support for the flag? Because there are still some out there that want to go back to the polls and have that state flag change back to the way it was.
Yes, Rhonda, you know, you always have such differing opinions. And I'll tell you, when we were looking at the flags, we had different people like different things. You know, it was a very hard decision for all of us. We all had different ones that we liked. But in the end, we all end up coming together and collaborating and deciding that the magnolia was such a special thing for the state of Mississippi and that it would be a great symbol for our state. And you know what? I really felt good about it. I did think that people were ready to move forward and progress the state, and people are very excited about it. But I will say that the numbers were even better than I had expected, so that was very exciting.
Well, as you're waking up with results this morning, another big talker, the new state flag. It was an issue that brought many out to the polls. Desiree Duncan joins us live with more on the changes. Desiree?
Good morning, Megan. Actually, if you take a look behind me, you might be able to notice that the new state flag is flying here in downtown Gulfport near the Hancock-Whitney Bank. That is the new design. The In God We Trust design with the magnolia in the center of the flag.
One issue on the ballot Mississippians had no problem voting for was the new state flag option, as Bill Snyder shows us. Many say the new flag signals a new era in the state's history.
On Wednesday, coastal Mississippi pushed out this video on social media with the new state flag and the saying, "All are welcome here." It comes a day after the state's voters approved the new flag design.
It feels like the morning after the flag came down. That's what it feels like.
Jeffrey Hulam III has been there from the beginning when the old Stars and Bars state flag was taken down to now, as the new state flag takes another step toward being the Magnolia State's official banner.
We showed that everybody came together for the betterment of all people in the state to unite under one flag, In God We Trust. There can be no better day. That's why we love Mississippi so much.
That love was shown at the ballot box after the flag design chalked up 72% of the yes vote. This flag became Choice A for Mississippians after extensive research and collaboration by the 9 State Flag Commission members.
The state of Mississippi overwhelmingly came together to say, let's unite together under one solid flag. This is what we stand for in the state of Mississippi. You know, and that's the difference. 2001, they had a different mindset. Times change. This is just putting Mississippi where it's supposed to be. That's at the front of the line instead of the back of the line.
course, now the next step in getting this flag to become truly official is for state lawmakers to ratify the design. Many see that as a foregone conclusion, and they also say it's representative of where Mississippi is now and where it'll be in the future. In Gulfport, Bill Snyder, WLOX News Now.